Today on DC On Screen, we are celebrating 5 years of DC On Screen. We're laughing about Robert Pattinson's disinterest in quarantine exercise. Jason's still skeptical about the Snyder Cut being released, despite every insider now saying that it is. We're talking a little television, and we're answering your questions and listening to your congratulatory voicemails. I almost said emails. I suck. Oh, and do you recognize the music behind me? It's our original theme. For nostalgia's sake. Stick around. It's a fun show. Oh, I'm dropping cans off of my desk.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 594. I am David C. Robertson, and this, the man with whom I have recorded hundreds and hundreds of hours podcasting with, Jason Goss.
Hi.
I'm not sure that sentence made any sense, but it's par for course.
Something somewhere that's wrong, but you get, I'm with you.
This is our fifth year, man. This 5 years ago today, we recorded and released our first episode of DC On Screen.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like that, actually. It really doesn't.
In ways, it does.
I mean, this has now been a seventh of my entire lifespan.
Yeah, that's nuts. I was thinking about that the other day. I was just like, oh my Lord.
Jesus.
So how do you feel, man? How do you feel? 5 years in.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Met some fine folks. Had some fun discussions.
Absolutely.
Seen our way through some of the strangest times in media I've ever witnessed.
It's going to get stranger.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, in case you're just joining us.
Called foreshadowing.
Maybe. I mean, I was going to say it anyway, but if you've never joined us before, if this is for some reason your first episode of DC On Screen, this is a podcast where we talk about the DC Comics multiverse on film and television, give honest opinions on projects upcoming and past, and believe that every version of a property is valid, even if you do not want it to be. If it's been released, it is fair game, so beware of spoilers, and welcome to the show. We're going to start off with a little movie news.
Shoot.
Colin Farrell was talking to GMA News Online, and they asked him how it felt getting into the costume for the first time. He says, I had only started it, and I can't wait to get back. The creation of it, the aesthetic of the character, by the way, he's playing the Penguin, if you didn't know, has been fun, and I really am so excited to get back and explore it, and I haven't got that much to do. I have a certain amount in the film. I am not all over it by any means, but there are a couple of some tasty scenes I have in it and my creation, and I can't wait to get back. Cool. Speaking of sentences that don't make a lot of sense.
He's Irish.
He is. Yeah. He says, yeah, I totally
he's
feel like
charming in Irish. He doesn't actually have to use whole sentences. He can just kind of spit stuff out and like, oh, it's great.
Oh, I've heard him do it.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there going, dreamy.
Yeah. Like on paper, you describing that sentence to me, I'm like, okay, well, I get what you're going for, but I think I could have done that differently. And if I was hearing him say it, it would never cross my mind. Oh, listen to that charming lilt.
Yep. So he can't wait to get back to it. But the headline here is
I'm excited.
that
he's excited. I will give him that.
The headline here, though, is that he's not all over it by any means. He doesn't have a huge role in the film, according to him.
You mean, yeah, well, it's the film's called The Batman.
Well, I thought it was called The Penguin. I'm sorry.
He's not going to be chewing up 60% of the screen time.
Right.
And it's going to be a coming of age. I'm not talking like a 14-year-old, but it's going to be like a coming of, I don't know, Batman getting into his own. There's a lot of story going on there that's not necessarily going to have to do with the Penguin.
Okay. Well, I
do like this. I like that he's excited, and I like that he's humble about, well, I'm not all over the damn thing. I kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, apparently there might be less of Robert Pattinson in the movie than we thought.
All right.
Have you heard about this?
No. What's that?
People are furious. So he was Robert Pattinson
He's going to come out and be like, well, I was on set for 3 days. We wrapped. Really?
Look, he said he told GQ. He says, he's in quarantine. Mm-hmm. He says that the Warner Brothers trainer left him with a Bosu ball, a single weight, and a, quote, sincere plea to use both. And Pattinson said, I think if you're working out all the time, you're part of the problem. You set a precedent. No one was doing this in the 70s. Even James Dean. He wasn't exactly ripped. So apparently he's just not working out, from what I understand. He's just like, nah.
Just literally not working out.
And then did make it a point to say, Zoe Kravitz is still doing it. She's sticking to her workout routine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. And people are like, how dare he? It's a privilege to play the Bat. He's not taking this seriously. Maybe not. Time will tell.
I mean, he's kind of making a point about ridiculous body images that are portrayed.
Right. But, I don't...
Excuse me while I pretentiously cough. Okay, go ahead.
Here's the thing. I would prefer my Batman to be a little ripped. Or
a bit swole, for sure. I want him to look like he can handle himself. Yeah. Minimally.
Yeah.
No,
but I'm not mad. Like, that asshole John Campea or whatever his name is, from
I can't remember the name either, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was just flipping out, just screaming at the top of his lungs on his little thing, and I was like, God, I never would have seen that because I blocked him years ago. Except people were, talking about it on Twitter a lot and sharing it. But
the coroner is going to write cause of death, fan entitlement.
Right. He's just like, how dare he, blah, blah, blah. And I want him to be swole. I want him to be. But, this John Campea is the same sort of dude who's also the guy that's going to turn around and go Michael Keaton was the best Batman. Michael Keaton didn't have a single muscle in his body when he was playing Batman.
No, it was like assembling a pile of rubber bands and putting a bat suit on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they had to make the suit so constrictive.
Right. All right. So if I don't know, whatever. Just don't show him shirtless. I don't give a crap.
Yeah, we'll see something like it. He's in all of the clips I've ever seen him from, because I've just gone back and looked at clips of his movies to see how I felt about the guy. I've never run across him.
Mm-hmm.
He never looked like. I mean, he always looked like he could handle himself.
Yeah.
Good example for me is Gordon from Gotham, whose name is escaping me at the moment. Ben McKenzie. There you go. Never looked completely swole, but definitely looked like if you put that dude in some fatigues, he would make sense.
Right. Yeah.
I never saw him in a fight and thought, well, they're just playing this up. There's no way he could have done that. He always looked like he could handle himself.
Well, I mean, if you heard, Robert Pattinson is going to be Batman and thought, well, he's going to get swole like Batfleck.
Actually,
you were going to be disappointed anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah, because Ben did that to the nines, and then had an actual bodybuilder do his. When they molded the suit to somebody who was in way better shape than Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben just had to fill the damn thing out, and still did a wonderful job. But I'm not minimizing his work. But there was a lot of swole going on. Comparatively, now that I've mentioned Gotham, if we're only comparing him to say how swole David Mazouz is, he's in great shape.
Yeah.
He just has to beat a 16-year-old kid.
Which, we've already seen set pictures. We know how swole ostensibly he is supposed to be in this thing.
That's kind of the funny part about this being a real problem, is I've already seen pictures of him and he looked fine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was him. It was his stunt guy, but I mean,
okay, maybe that was it.
That's as big as he's going to get, y'all.
Are they going to have to Green Lantern him and be like, well, post-quarantine he came back as an 85-pound noodle?
I mean, no one's upset about Christian Bale, and he was an 85-pound noodle.
But again, to give the people angry credit, Christian Bale went through a lot of effort to not be a noodle anymore.
Well, he did, and he got
but
super
he's one of those,
swole.
He's one of those that freaks with his body anyway. I don't understand how he does what he does.
From Batman, right before Batman Begins, he did The Machinist and lost a ton of weight, and then turned it around and got so jacked he came back, and they were like, dude, it's called Batman, not Fat Man. You're going to have to go lose like 30 pounds. And then he had to like go back and do it. So I'm not worried about it. Whatever, man. If Robert Pattinson doesn't want to work out, I guess that's his right as, an entitled star to do whatever. I don't know.
But honestly, sounds like he's making a point about body images and their portrayal, and there's an argument to be made for it.
This is not the time when you're about to play like the peak of physical of human physicality.
Yeah, I mean it's a strange battle to pick. I'll give him that, but
like he's gonna bring up James Dean.
I can get where his head's coming from. It's a hard battle to pick. I get that.
James Dean was like a pile of like freaking hollow bird bones with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Like, you gonna pick James Dean to bring up?
He filled out that white undershirt like few have since.
He was an attractive guy, but he was a skinny dude, and I would not have told him that he could play Batman.
Yeah, but I know the point he's trying to make. Like back in the 70s, if you were, I genuinely think it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger that came around and reset the mindset of like, oh no, a strong man's supposed to look like this. Like he's supposed to eat nothing but 4 chicken breasts a day. Has never even looked at a bagel and doesn't even know what the taste of alcohol is, and does nothing but spend like 6 hours a day just pumping, just literally pumping. Like that's what it looks like. I don't know if it's true, but that's what it looks like he does, because it seems magic to fucking me.
Well,
feel like I could do.
It's not every day forever. It's just when you're in training season.
Yeah, and then you eat like 4 brownies right before you go out there to get your blood sugar up, so you get all the veins. I think that's the whole thing is like you're just a hamster running until they give you the 4 brownies, and then you're just so happy you go out there and flex, and you go out and pass out most of the time.
Right.
There's a lot of sick stories about them like passing out and throwing up backstage. It's just being a fucking squalor. It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, point was back in the day, if you were just kind of hefty, you were, seen as like a big dude on screen, John Wayne didn't have pecs, I don't think.
He had tits.
Did he? Yeah. He was like the pinnacle of man for a while there. Charlton Heston was never a pec dude, was he? Well, maybe he was for a second there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure by the end there, in the last few movies, Wayne was just mushing his tits down and like taping them, and it just looked like a gut.
Yeah. And they were hiding really well the IV with the whiskey in it. That was sustaining him the entire process. I don't know.
Anyway.
Okay.
So,
we'll see how that works out.
Wonder Woman 1984, man. Deadline is saying that Warner Brothers requires at least, or sources close to Deadline say that Warner Brothers requires at least 80% of the world's theaters to be open for Tenet to stay on its July 17th release date. And domestically, that requirement includes Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York. And if
that's a roll of the dice right now, buddy.
Yeah. Yep. So
80% is a hard call at the moment, especially since AMC pretty much is not looking great. Regal's right there behind it.
If the majority of theaters don't show positive signs of reopening by the first week of June, Tenet moves off its mid-July date. Theater owners report that Tenet would be pushed back 4 weeks to the August 14th date, and that would send Wonder Woman 1984 to December.
I don't doubt it. I mean, there's a version of events where if we saw this movie this year, I would be surprised.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
I think we're looking at December for Wonder Woman, honestly.
I'm certainly not rooting for it. I would love to have seen that movie right around my birthday as I was expecting. But that may not be just may not be a thing, man.
Yeah.
Like to get everybody back into a theater is going to require a lot of the right things being in place, and I just don't know if we're going to be there yet. And you got to wonder at what point DC or Warner Brothers is just really it's Warner Brothers. Just wonders about, okay, where do we start investing in another distribution model? Because you push that movie back enough times, at some point you just have to say, okay, how else can we do this?
Yeah, well,
we can't do this forever. At some point we have to release this movie and make the money. It's just sitting there in a can ready to go.
Tell that to Disney and freaking New Mutants.
Oh. I know. But I hate to say this about New Mutants, but it is a little bit true. It doesn't matter what they do. No one cares anymore. They've fucked around with this movie. I mean, I know. I'm exaggerating. But they fucked around with this movie and how it was going to be made, and it's how many times it's been reshot. And how many times, when it was going to be released so many times. It's been like 3 years people have been expecting this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people are that emotionally invested in it. I think every time you move something like that, you lose a little bit of the emotional investment.
And I don't know how many people were that invested to begin with.
It was kind of dwindling as a property.
Yeah.
I know people are deeply attached to it, and I'm not trying to take away from that. I'm just saying that property's seen its high point, and this is not it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, I reckoned.
Yep, it's going to happen. So Twitter's been crazy the last couple of days, and basically Humberto Gonzalez and Heroic Hollywood came out saying that there was a screening of the Snyder Cut with WB executives in the first quarter of 2020, and they were saying it may be happening after all. And then all of a sudden, several ardent naysaying/maysaying, I made that word up.
Mayhapsing?
Yeah, mayhapsing. Maysaying bloggers, they started reporting on that screening and hinting that they know something else, something they can't say. And this is people like Grace Randolph and Mario Francisco Robles.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've been seeing more several tweets from high profilers today. Stephen M. Colbert of Screen Rant, and always Snyder enthusiast, says, if you're the screenshotting type, better hurry. Those tweets are already starting to disappear. Lots of naysaying people who said it would never happen, who made fun of Snyder Cut people. They're like seriously running around deleting tweets like crazy.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
Peter Scarretta of Slash Film owned the shit. He said, I was wrong. It's happening.
I saw that one.
And then said, bookmark this tweet for later.
Yeah, and I scrolled through some of the responses to even that, and it was just, oh God, this is terrible.
And
no one can agree on anything.
Well, it seems like what's happening is there are people who are saying, oh, I can't actually say, I'm not allowed to say that is happening yet. So I'm just going to be like, well, it may be happening soon. There was a screening, blah, blah, blah. And then there are the other people who are like, oh, I can't say what's happening, but you'll know what I'm talking about. It's happening. And then if somebody comes after me, I never said what was happening.
That was context based. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Best I could tell, there's some crow being eaten by some people. Some hats being chewed.
Mm-hmm. And there's this is interesting to me. There is an idea going around, and it seems to be the most promising thought is that it's going to be released as a miniseries on HBO Max, and then it's going to be later cut into a long film. But to me, that would make perfect sense. Like WB gets to move on theatrically and do whatever the hell it wants, while Snyder gets to knock our dick in the dirt with a miniseries for the money he wants. It opens the door for completing the saga, or a second season.
I mean, yes and no. You've still got major actors you have to get on board for HBO miniseries.
Well, it's less pressure for Ben to come back, or to come back too. Like, he could come back without,
Yeah, it's less pressure in a way, but it's also...
It's more flexible shooting-wise.
It's that, but you also probably aren't able to offer as much.
No hardline release dates with theaters and whatnot. But here's the thing. Ben Affleck just turned around and did a freaking few spots for Kevin Smith in one of Kevin Smith's new movies. I don't think Ben Affleck is that terribly concerned with money to where he's just going to be like, nope, I'm not going to help you redo the thing because they're not offering me enough money.
I don't at all. I honestly... It could just, I don't know. I could just be buying it and it be not true. But part of me kind of buys the story that he was just like so emotionally drained that's what sent him off the deep end a little bit with the alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Well, there was also the whole divorce thing going on, but...
Yeah, that's certainly not helping. For a lot of people, if you end up in rehab, it was a confluence. There's rarely a one thing. I mean, I don't say rarely, but... Often there's a confluence of circumstances. I don't know. I'm just not opposed to the narrative that he just genuinely was so upset by the entire process that it was part of what actually made him lose a little bit of control. And to that end, if that does mean he's in the process or he's in the program, it can go back and forth. Like some of that, he may want to come back and like reconnect with those people. He may also just want to do the thing that some people in the program do and just not get themselves in that environment again.
Yeah.
I don't know how that goes. And again, if I'm buying the narrative, then I'm also buying the I'm not trying to pressure him either way. If that's what he needs to do to be healthy, be fucking healthy first.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I want Ben to be healthy first. That said,
you still have plenty of footage of him, though. They can make something work for a miniseries.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think they have plenty for the actual Snyder Cut to happen. I'm saying, if they ever wanted to come back or if they needed him if they needed to do any kind of reshoot.
He still looks pretty good.
He still looks swole as shit to me.
Oh, I don't think it physically would be a problem.
No, they could have him show up. He wouldn't have to lift a freaking weight. Show up, shoot him from the neck up. And then have Richard Citrone in the suit for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, who I think would be happy to play, to do those spots. No, I don't think it's functionally undoable. I just wonder if it's something he'll want to put himself in again. And yeah, I mean that's possible. Plus, everybody else is. I mean, Wonder Woman is still a functioning franchise.
Yep.
Jason Momoa never runs out of things he's doing. Aquaman made $1 billion plus. Like, there's no.
That's right.
Henry Cavill's. I mean, I watched every scene of The Witcher. I still don't know what happened, but I watched every scene and I was entertained. It was a very confusing plot.
All right. But I never watched it. I couldn't get into it.
I'm just saying, everybody's got some stuff going on. Like, if they're going to go back for reshoots, it will be difficult. But if we're just getting like a miniseries version of what you got, if you were to just watch the Snyder Cut, the only thing that's confusing to me is I don't understand why that's necessarily better or worse. Except that if it is a miniseries, maybe you're trying to like cut it in, like you remember how Arrested Development had to cut in when they came back? Like, they only had people for so long on set, so they had to make it about somebody, and then they even re-edited that season because it just kind of didn't work that well.
Yeah,
like there is more flexibility, but you may be putting yourself in a corner a little bit.
I think what it does, and from what I understand, this was Zach's idea, from what I'm hearing, but what I think it does is it makes it more palatable for a streaming service. And you can also make it as long as you want it to be. You can go back and hit those beats that you wanted to hit, because originally we were looking at like a 4-hour movie.
Which I was not opposed to.
From what Zach was saying.
But
so if we're talking about like actually being able to go in, add in some more stuff, and then leave it open for a possible quote unquote season 2, that way they could like sign people on for, less money because it's not a movie, it's a series. Like, there might be some kind of weird legality there where they can pay them a little less.
I mean,
it's more flexible for shooting.
Just like going from traditional media to what they still call new media gives you some options.
And there's not a person really, I can't think of anybody who was involved in that production who I would say, no, they wouldn't come back for Zach. I think everybody would come.
I do think a lot of those people would make the way back. I mean, I know certain of them are more vocal about it, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be a personal issue if they don't make it back. I mean, unless in case it's Ben's situation, and if that's just the healthy thing, then do that instead. But I don't think that's the problem. I mean, hell, I'm still in a position where I'm like, well, this sounds great, and the wind really does for me feel a little different this time. I still just want to see the official announcement. Yeah,
me too, man. Me too. So our one of my nemesis, Grace Randolph. Even she is like is been turned around here, and she tweeted a couple hours ago, a lot of people are saying they were wrong about Snyder Cut because the news is all over town that the deal is closing as we speak. Expect an official announcement very soon. And the official announcement, and the story could leak via a trade even sooner. Here's what's funny: the people who don't want it, who have sources, are pissed. Like Bill Jet Ramey on Batman on Film. He says, to hell with past failed endeavors. If I'm WB, I'm producing a Watchmen-style miniseries based on Kingdom Come for HBO Max. He's been very ardently against Snyder and
not
the DCEU
that I don't want that
for years. I would love that. What are you talking about? Of course I'd love that.
One of the things I think we've said a few times would sound like a great fit.
And, he also says, what else would be done as a live-action miniseries, or could be done as a live-action miniseries on HBO Max? The New Frontier. Yeah,
Like,
also not opposed to that. Just Jesus.
Bill Raimi, like,
but these
simultaneously pisses me off and cracks me up. It's one of the weirdest things. He's so angry about the DCEU.
It's a weird position to have though in that situation, because you're like, it's like saying like, you know what? The reason I don't like blueberries is because strawberries suck.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make it. I mean, it's you're just moving the argument so far sideways that I guess you're still talking about berries. But what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah. And Mark Hughes over on Forbes said, I'm glad most of the folks who continued to insist it didn't exist and wouldn't be released are finally coming to realize that A, yeah, it does, and B, yeah, it is.
Well, speaking of which, if I can take a moment.
Uh-huh.
The wind feels different.
It does feel different.
It feels different. I still want something official, but that's not necessarily me dragging my feet. It's something we do, is we want the official before we don't report it as a thing that's happening until like it's just, I don't know, it's how we do. We want a source. We want not a source. We want a source that's an actual outlet that says a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
With primary information saying that thing is happening.
Look, Zack Snyder was going to do this Man of Steel watch party. It's like a commentary he's going to do on Vero.
Mm-hmm.
And he changed it. It was supposed to be June 14th, and it has been shifted to May 20th. And a few of us were wondering if that wasn't part of it. And then Humberto Gonzalez from Heroic Hollywood said, I'd watch this on Wednesday morning if I was y'all, just saying. And, he's a scooper. But
that's one of those things where like I got annoyed when I saw that comment because I thought, he's going to comment on Man of Steel for 2 hours. It doesn't matter what happens. He's going to say something that Humberto can swoop in and say, well, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. But
it's like, this is a basic like mentalist trick.
It is.
Like
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. But even before Humberto said that, a number of us were kind of going, that's a weird shift. That's a weird...
Yes and no.
Like, the idea that like Heroic Hollywood put out this, by the way, there were WB screenings, and then like Snyder Cut blew up over the weekend, and now all of a sudden today on Monday, it's like everyone's like hurry up and going and deleting their old tweets saying Snyder Cut people are crazy. There's nothing here. Yep. It's just everybody with any kind of sources is going, this shit is real.
Yeah, I get it.
It's starting to feel a little weird.
There's a lot going on. This feels different. I want the official just before I get excited, and that has nothing to do with saving face for me. I've already said I will. I'm like, based on this, I'm not eating my hat yet.
But you're assaulting it.
I'll marinate it.
It's in a little baggie.
I'll get it in a 1 gallon freezer bag. Let it sit in the freezer for a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe consider how to catch a crow in order to consume it.
Right.
There are none in my area that I've seen. But yeah, like it does feel a little different, and I'm still like I know I have very much been the wet blanket here, and I'm still kind of being, because I'm like, it's still okay. Just want to be official.
But what's funny about this is
I've also said I really want it to happen though.
Oh yeah, even if it's in miniseries form, do you want it?
Kind of especially.
Yeah, me too. Because like there's some jackasses.
And it's not like it wouldn't have worked. Like if you like take Watchmen, the director's like the full 3 and some change hour cut of Watchmen. I could just cut that down to 5 or 6 episodes or something, and it'd be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think they did something similar.
Now, here's
called,
the thing,
I believe,
though.
Watchmen.
Yeah. Here's a weird thing though. I just thought about, but just earlier this week, before all this hit the fan, there were a lot of trades saying that the Supergirl movie had been put on hold because Warner Brothers decided, nope, we need another Superman movie. We've changed our minds. We need another Superman movie. If that is tied in with this Snyder Cut shit, and they're like, nope, we're going to do an HBO Max Snyder Cut, and we're also like part of the deal of getting Henry to come back and shoot whatever he needs to for it is getting him back in the saddle in a new movie.
Yeah.
Like we know Jim Lee is a fan of Cavill. We know Jim Lee wants it to happen.
Oh yeah. The 2 biggest things that have changed that I think were the tent poles that could make this possible if it happens.
Mm-hmm.
It are HBO Max being a thing, because when Release the Snyder Cut started, that wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, having this format at their disposal was huge. And then I genuinely still think, like, unless we've just been lied to about how the event went down, I genuinely still think that when Warner Brothers called, wasn't it Guggenheim? About, can you include Ezra Miller as Flat? Like, can you get him in this thing? To me, that was a turning point. Like, they wanted to open up the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if this ends up happening, I think it will have to be a result of those two things, which makes me think that if it does happen, there's still going to be, I think we have a multiversal aspect going forward, which it, first of all, would be the only way to explain what's happening narratively. Makes no, it's been one of my major problems is until those two things were in place, it made no sense to me to release a competing form of the same product. It just, like, you're just confusing and dissecting and dividing your, not this, but you're confusing and dividing your fan base even further.
Yeah.
So it made no sense for me to, like, for them to put in what was going to be several $1 million minimally to finish the cut, to get it out there, to get it. I mean, it was going to be 8 digits to get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then why would you do that unless you had a plan for recouping that? And even then, if you just recoup your circumstances, why if we're taking away from future box office because somebody says, well, my canon is over here now, and that's all there is to it, you're hurting yourself. There needed to be a mechanism where it could all be there. And
I think one thing that they had to realize as a company, as DC, like just talking about DC, and I think we start to see that when we're seeing Kevin Smith do the DC Daily first episode where he's talking about, like, what's your DC, who's your they had to come to grips with the fact that this was already a situation. They're not Marvel. Coming into this, everyone has a favorite live action Superman. Everyone has a favorite live action Batman. Everyone has their favorite version of a character.
When they started with the big guys, like, one of the things that the Marvel Cinematic Universe did that was brilliant, and I hope it was intentional, because if it wasn't, it's kind of a shame, was starting with people that weren't A-listers necessarily.
I won't say it was brilliant, because that's all they had access to. That's all they had access to. That is literally... No, that was absolutely true. They did not have anybody. No.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then.
Like,
so it's just fortuitous.
Well, the biggest characters in Marvel and before 2008, X-Men, Spider-Man. That's it. Nobody read the Avengers. Nobody read Iron Man. Nobody gives a shit about Captain America.
Thor thing.
Yeah.
No one pushing for a Thor movie. But yeah, like the fact that they were able to start with people and make you care about them and build on that gets you a long way. Like, when you start with the big three, which is kind of what Warner Brothers tried to do with the DC, was the DC universe. Like, when you start with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, you're biting a huge chunk. So, yeah, I get it. Like, I get how it backfired immediately. You can't do that. You can't do that and please everybody. You just can't. It's just physically impossible.
And, all those people are gone now. So,
I mean, yeah.
Like, everybody's gone.
We also, we used to joke about Diane Nelson being my nemesis. Because she was of the opinion that you couldn't have an IP represented multiple formats simultaneously because it would confuse the audience. And whatever it was that got her out of that job, it was apparently a personal problem, and I hope she's doing fine. But professionally, that was the dumbest goddamn thing. This audience is smarter than that. This audience survived several crises, and I don't even know how many reboots. Like, they were talking about this right as the New 52 was being... They were discussing taking New 52 into Rebirth, like the early stages of that, on the DC Comics side. And on the movie side, they're talking about, well, I don't know if we can have more than one version of it.
But you understand, though. You understand, yes, this audience is smart enough to understand it, but they don't care about the fans. They care about the general audience.
I think the general audience can process far more than they were giving them credit for at the time.
I don't know. I've talked to a lot of general audience.
I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I've run across some people where I did the same thing you have. We've had many a conversation about, like, well, I was talking to this guy and he said this thing, and I just kind of walked away.
But they're going to be confused.
Like, I knew I could tell him why he was wrong, but that would open up a whole, like, it wasn't worth it for me to sit down and do a 4-hour lecture on what he just said and why it was inaccurate.
I mean, they might be confused by the nuance, but the fact of the matter is, and hopefully they're seeing this, I think we're getting there. The general audience doesn't care. They might not see a Batman on the CW, or they might not watch an HBO Max series about Batman, or but they will go see a Batman movie because it's a Batman movie, and they're not going to say like, oh no, I like that other guy better. They're still going to probably go see it unless it just looks like absolute shit. Like Batman Forever proved that.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, well, it's not Michael Keaton anymore, but I don't know. Jim Carrey's there, so let's do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it matters as much as they thought it did, or as much as the fans want to think it does.
I think that I think we could have put a lot more faith in GA than we did, collectively at the time.
Yeah.
Like 6 years ago, even the 5 years ago that we've been doing this, I think we could have put a lot more faith in the general audience, and we just didn't. I mean, yeah, there's definitely outliers, man.
I don't put a lot of faith in the general audience, honestly. Like, I put faith that my faith in the general audience is that if you make a thing look cool, they will probably come. If you market it correctly, they will probably come.
Yeah, but I think we even lost that faith for a minute. Like, I
With
think
Birds of Prey,
No, I think we were trying to, like, 5 or 6 years ago, I think they were trying to be nuanced in their approach, but not understanding that the general audience didn't necessarily care about the nuance. Like,
right.
Well, I don't know if we can have two Jokers at the same time, or we're gonna get rid of Bullseye or Deadshot, on the CW universe because we're gonna use him in the Suicide Squad film, which is kind of provably what happened.
You talking about Deadshot?
Yeah, did I not say that?
You said Bullseye.
I did, and then I said, Deadshot.
Oh, I didn't hear you say Deadshot.
I'm pretty sure I recapped that, but if it didn't, Dave's right.
Or maybe I was just hung up on Bullseye and was just like, Bullseye, 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 CW,
We've been talking about Affleck a lot. I guess that's how it snuck in. Oh, we've been talking about Affleck and Colin Farrell.
Nice turnaround. Nice
That's
save.
how that snuck in.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
It's not because my brain is decaying. But seriously, like we took... I don't know. We could have given them more credit and just been like, look, I think they can understand that there's a guy over here on TV and there's a guy over here in the movies and they're different things, and just play up with the thing we're trying to do. Like, just make the trailer good, make the movie worth seeing, and people will come watch.
And also,
now it doesn't mean that I didn't have conversations with people in 2012 who were still like, well, actually 2012 is too early. In 2014 and 15, I remember having conversations with people about how, well, Christian Bale's not the Batman in these movies, right?
Yeah.
Like his version's gone. They did 3. It was a whole thing. Out. It's called the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, well, I just thought it was a pretty good version. Okay, well, I appreciate that, and I agree in large part, but they recast. It was, I don't know. I've had those conversations too, but
yeah. Now,
they were holding themselves back is my whole point.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so put out a good trailer. Don't spoil shit from the movie. And for God's sake,
talking to you, second trailer for BBS.
Liquor up your critics and give them presents.
Oh God,
like Marvel does.
Yeah,
that's what they should change. Like
that's
how they should. That's how they should be. That's how they should be more like Marvel, not in content, but by giving these greedy, entitled pricks free shit.
Yes, give them a goddamn iPad. Let's get our movie. It's that simple.
So the general audience will go and go, oh, look, it has good reviews. And we can all be happy.
Yeah. And I don't have to make spreadsheets about how Rotten Tomatoes is fucking us.
All right. I'm going to talk about
still have
TV a
that.
little
And
bit.
if I updated that sheet, it would be more right.
It would be.
But, my last thing, because I know I'm the wet blanket here.
You're good.
I very much am still rooting for this thing. And I'm definitely not going back and deleting my tweets. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I'll be happy about it.
Did you make tweets about it?
Hell no. I just mean in spirit.
Okay.
But there's, like you said, we've done hundreds of hours of recording. I've probably got a solid hour of me saying, I don't know if this is ever going to happen.
Yeah.
You could probably cut together a solid hour of me just saying, I don't think it's ever going to happen. And if I'm wrong, fucking I'll be wrong. It'll be okay. And I'll sit down and watch that shit the day it comes out.
Yeah, we're all human, man.
For apparently $12 goddamn dollars a month, because that's the price they finally came out with.
Yeah.
Not
for
happy
the first
about
year.
That. Yeah. That's the locked-in price. I'm not happy about that price point, especially because I already have HBO with my Amazon Prime thing, and there's no mitigating factor for that. It's not like, well, you can get it for $9.99 because you already have it over here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with DC.
No,
Universe.
now I've got to go back to Amazon Prime, drop that over there, and then wait for HBO Max to get booted, and then pick it up over there, and, assume or hope all my properties are still there waiting on me. My playlist won't be, and I'll have to go add all my stuff and all the other crap you have to do every time the streaming service starts.
Yeah. Well, I want to get into a little bit of TV. We've heard that all the CW shows are going to be delayed to 2021, except for Supernatural.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is Swamp Thing is going to start playing on. They've like edited it, and they're going to start playing it on CW.
Oh, I might actually watch that just to see.
Just see if it's any better.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we talked about a lot of things that we're just like, man, I just feel like if they just played this story differently and blah, 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 like I think an editing job might actually improve that series.
Maybe. Pedowitz said at the moment it's just the one season. I do not know if it could come back. Obviously, that would be a discussion for Warner Brothers and the CW, but at this time, Swamp Thing is just the episodes we have. Because as soon as they said, CW is picking up Swamp Thing, everyone was like, what?
No. Yeah. Don't. Hold on now.
And he's like, no, we need content. Calm down.
It's Green Swamp, not Green Light. Chill.
There's
a lot of meat to that series, though. If it got edited correctly and somebody took it up and really did it correctly and didn't have some on-set problems, there could be something to it.
If it is renewed for a second season, I will watch it. And we'll talk about it on the show, obviously. But I will not be rewatching that first season.
You know what actually might stop me is if it's on the CW, I'm going to have to watch the same 7 commercials 42 times.
Uh-huh.
And that's a problem. Also, they have a glitch where if you rewind incorrectly, you get to watch every commercial that happened up until the point you were already at. Like if you'd already watched 12, 15, 18 commercials just to get to where you were in that episode, and you rewind a little bit too far past a certain point, it will sit there and play you. I've timed it over 10 minutes of commercials before I just stopped and deleted the whole thing and went to bed.
Yeah, but the CW giveth and they taketh away. Like
it's free though, so
it's free. But also, if you watch it on the right browser, sometimes they'll just forget to play an ad.
I've seen that every now and then, and I thought, oh, good, you owed me this, CW.
There'd be like, if you like once, like I'll come in here and sit down and start playing Supergirl, and then it'll like get to an ad and get weird for just a second, and then it'll be like, continue? I'll be like, yes. It'll just pick right up where the show left off.
I've had it happen.
And when that happens, I will watch like 5 or 6 more episodes that night that I need to catch up on just because I'm like, nope, I'm not letting this go.
The cheat code's in. Let's do this. Like the game genie is in the system.
It's like that episode of Friends where they discover that the porn channel is for some reason on. And it's unscrambled. So they're just like, they won't turn off the TV because they're scared that it'll go away.
You don't want to mess with it. I get it. I've done it.
But yeah,
I don't get that nearly as often as I'd hope. But yeah, I've done it.
So then in January 2021, we're going to get Batwoman at 7 o'clock Central, 7 Central on Sunday nights, Black Lightning Monday, 8 Central, and The Flash at 7 Central on Tuesday, and Superman and Lois to follow at 8 Central.
The funny part is how, like, that's happening in January 2021, right?
Mm-hmm.
So given the dates and times already being worked out, the funny part is because there's nothing that they're currently producing, it feels like they're just hyper focusing on when we're going to get back.
Yeah.
Like this time in a year, normally we're watching finales.
Mm-hmm.
But normally it's like, well, we'll be back next year, sometime in the fall. No big deal. Blah, blah, blah. We'll figure it out later. We'll get back to you after SDCC about our return dates. No. That is all they're doing in the office right now. That's all Pedowitz is doing is, when are we getting back, man? When can we make this happen again? Yeah. I've got ads to sell. Yep. May sweeps are shit. November sweeps will also be shit. I have ads to sell.
Yeah. And Mark Pedowitz at the, I can't remember what it was called, but they previewed their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And he did say that Green Arrow and the Canaries is still very much alive. He says they're very much in active discussions to see what we can do. I've had many sessions with Warner Brothers. We have a strategy involved, and hopefully we can pull it off. But they are very much alive.
Okay. I wondered about that in the Superman and Lois thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Superman and Lois is happening. They've got an air date. They've got a synopsis.
I know. I just, with everything getting shaken up, I was wondering if we were getting it back at the normal premiere times. But
mm-hmm. They, it's going to be mid-season. It's January.
Yeah.
The new synopsis, by the way, for Superman and Lois. In Superman and Lois, after years of facing megalomaniacal supervillains, monsters wreaking havoc on Metropolis, and alien invaders intent on wiping out the human race, the world's most famous superhero, the Man of Steel, And comic books' most famous journalist, Lois Lane, come face to face with one of their greatest challenges ever, dealing with all the stress, pressures, and complexities that come with being working parents in today's society. Complicating the already daunting job of raising 2 boys, Clark and Lois must also concern themselves with whether or not their sons, Jonathan and Jordan, could inherit their father's Kryptonian superpowers as they grow older. Returning to Smallville to handle some Kent family business, Clark and Lois are reacquainted with Lana Lang, a local loan officer who also happens to be Clark's first love, and her fire chief husband, Kyle. The adults aren't the only ones rediscovering old friendships in Smallville, as the Kent sons are reacquainted with Lana and Kyle's rebellious daughter, Sarah. Of course, there's never a dull moment in the life of a superhero, especially with Lois's father, General Samuel Lane, looking for Superman to vanquish a villain or save the day at a moment's notice. Meanwhile, Superman and Lois's return to idyllic Smallville is set to be upended when a mysterious stranger, played by Will Parks, enters their lives. Based on the characters from DC created by Jerry, you know. So, I don't know, that sounds pretty much like all the casting sites were saying. It sounds pretty similar.
Yeah, sounds on track for what we kind of were expecting. Also, sounds like they were a little bit saying that, we made Smallville work for 10 seasons.
Let's just put it back in Smallville.
Let's just do Smallville again.
We have the sets.
But with a Superman.
Yeah. Business Insider did this little feature on the future of DC Universe with HBO Max's launch. And apparently, a former Digital Labs employee said that the feeling in the office is that DC Universe is going to be around for at least another year or two. There's commitment and funding, but it looks like they're also going to be keeping their content output small. And they said they want to keep it around, but they want to keep it really small. They are looking at Titans as the centerpiece of the lineup, and are considering spin-offs of Titans.
I'm not opposed to any of that.
No, I'm not either.
It's also probably a solid business plan. It would be really hard to be able to branch out right now. I mean, it's hard to shoot any damn thing.
Yep.
And they shoot in Atlanta, I think, which is technically open, but
meanwhile, we've got Doom Patrol Season 2. They were given a release date of June 25th.
Well, that's about a year later than I'd hoped, but I'll take it.
Well, I mean, it's like right around the corner.
Oh, this June 25th.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, I was so set in 2021.
No.
Oh, hell, this is exciting news.
HBO Max releases May 27th, and Doom Patrol releases on DC Universe and HBO Max June 25th of this year.
Well, alrighty then.
Right?
Something to fucking look forward to in the short term.
We've also got Stargirl. That's
running out of those.
A thing.
Mm-hmm. I haven't watched it yet. Today. It was actually pretty good.
Awesome. I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm going to finish up all those other CW shows first.
I will tell you this, though. It feels a little bit more like a DCU show than a CW show right now.
Which is
effectively true. I mean...
Now, I'm assuming you watched it on DC Universe.
I did.
Apparently, they're cutting out like 10, 15 minutes from every episode.
I don't doubt it.
To be on CW.
Yeah, I don't doubt it a bit. It was one of the things where I turned it on and kept looking at the clock thinking, man, this is where they do it. Is it an hour and a half premiere? I'm confused.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of stuff in there though.
Yeah, I'm interested to watch, man. I just haven't had a chance.
Your time will come.
My time will come.
Nothing else is coming for you in the meantime, except Doom Patrol.
And Stargirl. That's it. All right, so
I'll take it. No, I'll take that. That'll keep me occupied for a while.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take us on to break. We're going to hear a commercial from somebody we don't know. We got no control over. And then we come back. Listener feedback.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
All right, we are back. Woo! Listener feedback time.
I had time to marinate my hat. I brought in the Worcestershire.
You did.
So I roll.
I wouldn't know that. We're social distancing, but I know you enough. I know what you're using.
It's all been home cooked meals for me for the last 2 months.
All right, so Brentak Prime, our buddy Brent from Fans Without Borders and Marvel Squadcast, says 5 years. Congrats. That's fantastic. How'd you do it? Alcohol.
Delusions.
What's something you wish you knew when you were first starting that you know now?
That's actually a fun question.
Right?
Because I want to say you won't realize how fast 5 years come and go.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of wish I was prescient enough to know at the time when we were being told that like Green Lantern would be out in 2021. Yeah, don't get too attached to that schedule.
Yeah.
I suppose there still will be a Green Lantern of some kind in 2021, I think. Maybe. Depends on when they get that out. But still, that comes to mind. Overall, I think the message would be like, hey, Jason, it's going to get weird.
Mm-hmm.
Need you to be open-minded. Take a step back. Just roll with it, buddy. What do you think?
I wish I knew how little everything would matter. Like, in terms of, like, I wish somebody had come to me and said, most of the stuff you are doing on this show won't matter to anyone. And then I also, as I am feeling down, want that to be like, wait. Also, it will matter a great deal to a lot of people.
That would have haunted you more.
Yeah, it's like,
because you'd be like, okay, you're telling me I should change things except not change things, or I should care about things except not also care about things.
Well, what's weird in my mind is like me from the future. But if it was me from the future, I would be saying like, hey man, you're going to have like less people care what you say than you hope, but more than you thought would. So I don't know how to change it. Still.
So it would just be a matter of like how much serotonin you had floating around that day, how you take that sentence.
Right.
Just like, cool. Well, that's optimistic. Or, oh, fucking none of it matters. Fuck the whole thing.
I wish you know what? Honestly, I wish I knew how sick I would be of entitled fans, because I'm pretty sure we came off as pretty entitled fans at the beginning of this show.
Yeah, I do regret that. I think we did the same. I think we've had to like adjust, and that's kind of what I was, I guess, getting to with the open-minded part was like, man, it's going to get weird. You just gotta like learn to love what you love about a thing, and if you don't like it, well, you can talk about it, but don't get all fucked up about it.
Right. Yeah. I think that's one of the things I'm most grateful for, though, is that I feel like watching this fandom implode upon itself has really given me a lot of perspective. And made me enjoy things more.
I agree, but now that you pointed out, I've talked infamously, like for hours on our show about Dark Knight Rises and how much I hate that movie.
Uh-huh.
I would kind of like to go back and watch it for the first time now, just to see if it was.
I don't see my way out of that. I mean, I'm still gonna have I would still have the same problems with it, but I might not. I would probably. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if we erase
I might find myself in a different place. I mean, it genuinely fucked up one of my like first getting back to know my now current wife and mother of my child dates. Like I almost fucked that up because of that movie. Like I was so fucked up having seen it that the rest of the date did not go well.
Yeah, it's not worth that.
Like I had to adjust and find my feet mid-date, like really late in the date, like so late that I barely probably caught. It was this thing was on the ropes, and I was like, wait a second, I got to regroup, and had to go back and be like, listen, okay, I know I've been messed up today. I'm sorry. It's been a messed up day for me, and I know that like that's coming from a weird place. I've waited like 5 years to watch this movie, and I was just deeply disappointed by it. So I don't know, and I don't know. I think I would have had better perspective. If not that day being better, then maybe my enjoyment of the movie being better.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's.
Oh, you know what? Also, our mic choices early on versus now. Some of the editing choices. Yeah. So like the audio quality in general, I think has gotten a lot better.
I hope so.
I mean, I think it's demonstrably so. Whether it's great is still the subject of some concern, but whether it's demonstrably better than our first few, yeah, sure, for sure it is.
Right.
Like I don't think that's questionable.
Yeah. Let's see. Eli Hernandez, our good friend, Eli. Hey, man.
I always see his name in cursive now.
Yeah. Says, gentlemen, Imagine DC gave you permission to reboot a DC Scrubs origin story. Who do you choose? Multiple answers are acceptable. I would reboot Killer Croc's origin. It seemed like the writers go back and forth on whether he's a human or a talking crocodile. I feel like we got this question a few weeks ago, but I'm not sure.
It seems familiar in a way. I say that partially because I always want to say Scarecrow.
Yeah. Something about the Killer Croc thing, too.
I guess they don't mess with Scarecrow's origin that much, though. He's still like crazy psych professor who fires a gun in class.
Yeah, or, you know.
Is disgraced.
I don't know. I kind of like the one where, from the animated series, where he's just causing all his students to hallucinate in those, like, chambers and stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's good, too. Like
he's got
a whole, like, Stanford experiment with...
Yeah, he has, like, a whole floor just dedicated to, like, just torturing students. And then finally they, like, make their way down and be like, what's going on here?
I mean, that's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, right up to and including the, like, crusty old dean who comes down and goes, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone from Jonathan Crane to Peter Venkman had that experience. That's exactly what you want.
I mean, I get it. There's it's funny how much of like there are things taught in psychology in at least in like intro to psych that there are a couple of things they teach you. I think it's the Albert Bell, I want to say, is the kid's name. It's this experiment in it's a classical conditioning experiment where basically they trained this infant. I mean, it was like a several-month-old baby to when he hears it was a really loud clanging bell, and I think it was like a rabbit or some shit they would pull out. Like it was like a vaguely, I want to say it was a rabbit, but basically like this cute furry animal would come out, and the child would be like, "Oh my god, cute furry animal, big doe eyes, blah blah blah," and then they'd just like clang this bell above his head, to the point that it actually I've seen some stories about it now, and they don't know exactly, like they don't know exactly what happened to that kid, but the best research might indicate that like into him being a grandfather, he still just could not be around pets, like little like dogs, cats. Couldn't do it. It messed him up. That, and there's the Milgram experiment where like they would make you. I mean, it was an actor, but you thought you were giving somebody higher and higher dosages, like voltage settings or whatever. The Stanford prison experiment has kind of been debunked because apparently Zimbardo was a fucking fraud. But yeah, isn't that a shame?
Yeah.
You know that experiment. Most people know that experiment. Apparently he was throwing in Confederates and like bribing people to act a certain way to ramp up the behavior.
Wow.
Yeah, that dude was the president of the American Psychological Association for several years. Philip Zimbardo. Fucking fraud, apparently. Well, like, I was angry about this. But anyway.
Psychology's a sham. That's what you're telling me, isn't it?
Yeah. I've got some books on Scientology I got to read. But yeah, like stuff that you could not get past an internal review, or I think they call it internal review board. I mean, it was IRB back in the day. Man, it's been so long since I've been in that universe. But yeah, stuff you could not do again. They'll teach you now, and they'll teach you with like, okay, we learned this, but you can't ever learn it again. We can't reproduce this. No one can do this experiment again. But by the way, turns out if you do this, humans will do this. Oh, great.
That's fun.
So in a way, I understand why Scarecrow's like, yeah, fuck all that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do whatever the hell I feel like doing. I get it.
All right. Well, my answer is Snapper Carr.
Oh, you want the Supergirl version?
No. I don't.
Go on.
I want the version who is a kid who who was a kid who hung out with the Justice League until he betrayed them. And I want it to turn out that I want Snapper Carr to find out that he is the embodiment of a collective of intelligences that basically decides which universes live and which universes die. And they decide whether or not the DC universe lives or dies based on their own personal interest.
Like Snapper Crisis?
I want it to be that because Snapper Carr was put in the Justice League to be the audience proxy. I want him to be literally an audience proxy in the story. If they're interested in the Justice League, DC Universe gets to live. If they're not, so like occasionally they have him do shit, like get into trouble so that he has to be saved. or stumble upon something, and if nothing else, betray the team.
Okay, well, I get it. I mean, I'm down.
I don't know, man.
I'm down.
It feels like something Grant Morrison would do.
Yeah, it kind of does. Just one more. I cannot find how to say her name. I'm actually gonna look this up because I over this pronunciation. All right, yeah, shows up really quickly, and it's a bunch of Twitter. How to pronounce? Yay! And it's an audio file. I'm not listening to that right now. That'll mess with the whole thing we're doing.
Yeah.
So her name though is like StjepanSejic. I think it's Croatian. I don't even know how to guess.
Okay.
I will normally just guess just for the hell of it, just to see if I'm right. I'm not even going to pretend that I know how to guess how to say her name. But her take in Harleen in the DC Black Label right now is my favorite version of Harley and Joker meeting that I've ever seen. Far and away.
Okay.
Like and it's not altogether different. It's still like she's a researcher and she gets there and he's one of the hard clients and she still has like there's some Stockholm syndrome going on a little bit that catches on and all that. But and actually like the last you caught up on Harley Animated?
I'm not, no.
Well, there's a little bit of origin going on there that's actually it's not too dissimilar. But yeah, I don't even know how to begin to say her name, for God's sake. And I feel very bad about that because she's brought me a lot of joy. But yeah, her take on Harleen right now is just super nuanced. Like definitely from Harleen's perspective, makes the whole thing make sense in a way. Like the way I used to describe studying anybody in philosophy was if you don't agree with them for a second, you didn't understand what they were saying. Now, if you disagree immediately, that you're not being brainwashed. You're just studying an idea. But if for a second you don't think, oh, that's what they're saying, well, then you didn't quite get it. Yeah, this one makes a lot of sense to me. Like from her perspective, I think we're on like book 4 in Harleen. God, I think at this point it's been like 4 months since I've gotten a new book out of that series because printing kind of stopped for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's an incredible take. I know there's TPB that's out right now with the first several books in it, and I deeply encourage anybody to grab it. Super nuanced version of her version of the story, and a neat take at the Joker, and even the Joker and Batman's relationship.
That's cool, man. Shall we move on?
We shall.
Julio on Twitter says, just a lot of greeting from Chile. I really enjoy your talks.
Well,
thank you, man.
Hell, that's fantastic. And thank you.
Matthew Salvatore over on Twitter says, congratulations, gentlemen. Absolutely love your show. Your show always gives me a laugh and brightens my day. I appreciate how both of you approach DC and its crazy fandom. Here is to another 5 years. That's wonderful.
Yeah. It'll be here tomorrow.
And, 5 years. Another 5 years.
Oh, do the math, though. If we do this for another 5 years, that seventh goes to a quarter of our lives. I can feel you being frightened.
Yeah, it's depressing.
I just heard you being like, I heard your eyebrows furrow.
They did. I stopped breathing for a second.
You're in another zip code. Those are good times, though.
Yeah. I'm
not trying to be any kind of way or insincere when I say this, but yeah, like as long as people are enjoying it and talking to us, fucking, we're gonna keep doing
it. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, probably.
Short of calamity.
Well, look,
or a major depressive break.
If something weird happens and all of a sudden I get to go write for Star Trek or something, yeah, I'm probably out.
Oh yeah, no, I'll give you that one. Yeah, short of like the parachute of dreams coming true.
Right. Yeah.
There's an exception for that too.
In which case, it's probably going to wind up being like Ronald D. Moore. I'll be gone for 2 days. I'll come back and be like, well, it didn't work out. Yeah. We did not agree.
Oh, I just rewatched it. So you remember the season 6 episode where Chang is like a national, like a celebrity for a second because of some catchphrase?
Oh, you're talking about Community.
Yeah. I said Chang.
I was like, Chang? I just remember him being in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, he's not talking about General Chang from Star Trek 6.
Oh,
He's talking about Chang. Senior
way deeper
Chang.
than I can get into Star Trek.
Yeah.
Chang from Community. He like pops off and he's a national celebrity, and there's clips of him saying like, well, I just don't, I never really, had a group or anything. I was kind of a loner and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just blows it so fucking hard. Like I'm pretty sure in that scene, he like says something super disrespectful about Spielberg, and then it turns out he's in the room, and they make him escape through a tiny hatch in the back of the audio booth.
That's funny.
And
I don't remember any of that.
he's like, well, can I not just come out the way I came in? He's like, no, you just go through the little door there, just the little door. That's where you need to go out. That's fine. And then he just wanders back at the study group room. He just kind of like has his backpack on. He's back in regular clothes, and he just kind of wanders back into the room and doesn't say a thing and just sits down sheepishly until they start making fun of Britta again. And he just kind of gets in like a barb on Britta, and everybody laughs, and they make it a whole moment where it's like, yeah, okay, shit got a little crazy, but yeah, you can come back.
Yeah.
It was actually a really cute scene.
Was that season 4?
Oh, that was season 6.
Oh, season 6. Yeah, okay, that'll work.
Yeah. One of the 2 seasons that I know you watched like once.
Yep.
And I wouldn't remember if I hadn't just seen it a month ago.
Yeah, the first 3 seasons I watched 4 times.
Yeah, I've studied those seasons.
All right.
I get it.
Our buddy Nathan, Wobbly Boots 85, says, Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you, Wobbly Boots.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're well, Wobbly Boots.
Mm-hmm.
I miss our long talks in the car.
I know. I also feel like gentleman is still just such a stretch.
Yeah. Anthony, our Brooklyn Batman over on Twitter, says, left you guys a voicemail, but just want to say congrats and I love the podcast. Well, if you left us a voicemail, we're going to play it later and we'll talk to you then.
Hell yeah.
Stu Little. But thank you. Stu Little says, 5th anniversary, so you'll be giving each other wood then.
Oh, yeah. That is a tradition.
I thought we had been giving each other wood this whole time.
I have like a pool cue you can have. Like a billiards thing to remember me by.
Remember you by? Where are you going?
Because you just never come over and play pool with me.
Social distancing, man.
It's a 4x8 table. This is tournament sized. Well, it's not tournament sized. That's not true.
But you said 4x8, not 6x8.
Well, you do it at an angle. We're always at a hypotenuse.
I don't know nothing about no hypotenuse.
Yeah. Well, then we have to wear gloves and not touch our faces the entire time we were handling the ball. There's no way I can describe that without it getting stupidly sophomoric and sexual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk away from what I just started. That's the sound of the ripcord being pulled.
Yeah. But yeah, I would come over and play pool. I forgot that it was a thing.
Yeah, me too. I hadn't played in a while.
Yeah. Every time I'm like, hey, Jason, you're like, baby!
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Yeah, I gotta move it to the new place, and it's gonna take me a fucking month to get it level again.
Oh, yeah. When are you guys moving?
Probably 3 weeks right now, looks like.
Ooh, it's coming up.
Oh, yeah. It's
coming up quick.
Imminent, I would call it.
Yep.
I'm staring at these comic book covered walls for the dwindling hours that they shall remain where they are.
It's going to be sad, too.
Before I put up those same comic book covered walls in another house.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that house, though.
Oh, yeah.
We had good times
It's
there.
been good to us. It really has.
All right. So now this has gone beyond a 5-year anniversary. This has become like Dave and Jason are sad about time being passed for like 10 years.
Hey, no better time than the present to be sad about the past.
That's true. Red Arrow X3 says, congrats on a awesome 5 years, guys. It's been an amazing journey, and here's the next 5 years of awesome DC content. Next 5 years? I don't want to do that bit again. Jay Scotty St. Clair.
Stick with us, and it'll be there. Abandon us, and
yeah.
I don't know.
Jay Scotty St. Clair says, can we talk about Dr. Fate? Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great.
What are your favorite storylines
involving?
What are your favorite storylines involving the character? Do you think we will ever see a live action version on the big screen? Which filmmakers and actors do you envision bringing him to life? I don't know a lot about Dr. Fate, honestly. Like, I like him when I see him.
No, I couldn't pull you a comic book reference on him. I really couldn't.
Yeah.
I've seen him here and there in the stuff that I've read, but man, I don't know, like an OG, like Teen Titans Judas Contract kind of story I could pull out for that. You know?
Right. Like I like the version. Like my first exposure to Dr. Fate was Superman the Animated Series. So in my head, like he's like just a badass who is married and lives inside of an Ankh.
Yeah.
And then like there's this other version that I also like a lot, where it's like, what is it, Naboo? Is that his name? Where he's like,
yeah, Naboo.
Yeah, where he's just like inhabiting some dude's body and like is kind of a prick.
Oh, it's a very antagonistic relationship.
But I like this. I like the thing where I like the version from that I remember from Smallville, where he's like crazy or some shit, and the helmet talks to people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like all the versions that I've seen. I think he's a cool character wherever he happens to be. I can't name you a storyline really. I think the closest would be Young Justice.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know about big screen in general, though. I just don't know if we're gonna have that opportunity. Justice League Dark was our best shot, and that's gonna be streaming now.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it just may never happen.
I think I think it will at some point, but just not right now. Obviously, not for a while. But
I'll tell you though, I'm fond of the version where it's just an older dude, like trapped with Naboo.
Yeah.
Like an Ian McKellen type that just, somebody that you respect when he's out of the helmet. You're like, oh yeah, a dignified older guy, but in helmet, you're just going to CGI the shit out of that. It's going to have nothing to do, or body double it or whatever. It's not going to be the same guy.
Yeah. I'm down for whatever they do. Like I could see when he said who do you think should play him? The first thing I thought was like Gary Busey.
You want a Lord of Order played by Gary Busey?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
What the actual hell? I'm not sure you're even wrong. I don't know if I agree. Like, it feels like a Patrick Stewart and McKellen kind of type would be more of a Lord of Order type.
Maybe. I also like the idea of of both versions here in my brain, where it's like Gary Busey is like a slacker who doesn't want to be Dr. Fate, and then like the Lord of Order helmet is floating around telling him to do shit and he doesn't want to do it. He's like, He's like, no, seriously, we have to go do the thing. But I also like the idea that the actual guy is like an Ian McKellen type, or someone very stalwart and heroic who feels like we need to do the thing, and then like the helmet is just like, damn it, I don't want to do that. I just want to watch more Fuller House.
Yeah.
Like, pass me the ice cream. You don't have a mouth. Just lop it in my bucket. just throw it to the helmet. Just like,
all right. I'm enjoying your take that the idea is that in helmet it's the embodiment of like the paladin kind of type, the lawful good, Yeah. And then out of helmet is just the brave and the bold version of Batman that's eating nachos. I could dig that.
Okay. I think the opposite would be good in like Harley Quinn or something. Whereas like H. John Benjamin playing Naboo floating around in the helmet.
Oh yeah. Trying to keep everything together, and then the second he gets out of the helmet, this dude keeps fucking everything up. There are younger guys that are in the helmet. It's not just Kent that's in the helmet. I forget his name. It's in Justice League Dark right now. It's a young dude though. Like a burgeoning magician that really just probably should not have put that helmet on, but he did anyway, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That might be more what you're leaning toward.
I don't know. I feel like it's a character that doesn't have so much notoriety or so many eyes on him, so many hearts attached to him that you could pretty much just get away with doing whatever the hell you want to with him. You can really be creative.
No, I think you can absolutely just do whatever you want with that guy.
Yeah.
The same way, like, I wish I remember the name. Sorry. Please forgive me, whoever on Twitter mentioned when I was asking a bunch of weird questions that they'd put Phantom Stranger in like a tweed outfit with a Panama Jack hat. You were right, and that was glorious, and I'm so sorry. I don't remember. I'll look it up. I'll look it up now while you're talking.
I I'll tell you who want to play the.
But yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want. No one's keeping that much track of these guys.
I tell you who should be the director of the movie though.
Mm-hmm.
Old dude. What's his name? Scott Derrickson, the guy that just left Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. He's probably got ideas.
Just switch it up. Doctor Strange,
take all their dragons.
Fate.
Grab Edgar Wright while you're at it. Yes.
Yeah.
Throw him at it.
Oh, I'd love to see Edgar Wright do a DC film.
No, any. Literally just give him the entire IP catalog and say, pick your choice, man. I don't care. And yes, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg can play whomever you say. I don't give a shit.
Uh-huh.
Just fuck you, take my money the entire time.
Yes. Absolutely. That is a thing. Oh my God. Look, I know it's an old movie and it probably, most of the people listening to us have probably seen it, but their box office would suggest that you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So at your earliest convenience, you need to take in Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could be useful. Oh, John McMullen.
Okay.
Fantastic note about the Phantom Stranger wearing a Panama.
Yeah, by the way, Jason's asking a bunch of weird questions on Twitter, so you should come hang out and, and answer those.
That will be continued. We are not at the end of that journey.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
It is fun. It is fun and funny to watch, so I've just sort of been like, oh, we've got notifications. Oh, Jason.
Yeah. It amuses me between diapers.
Anyway. Oh, Stu Little. I'm looking forward to Stargirl, but is anyone else a little miffed that they're killing off the original JSA in the pilot episode, considering there are a bunch of characters who have gotten so little love and adaptations? Also, have you watched The Tick on Amazon? Really enjoying that and its obligatory Superman parody character, who's like if the Richard Donner version was going through a midlife crisis and PR issues. Also, Jackie Earle Haley as the Terror is amazing. Thoughts?
Part 2 about the Tick. Yeah, it was fantastic. The Terror was phenomenal. Especially all the bits about the drums.
Well, see, that
specifically made me happy.
I loved the pilot and won't watch it now because
I get it.
As I understand, they canceled it without an ending.
Yeah, it was a huge cockblock that way. But for what I got, it was really enjoyable. Sarah Fenwick says the Tick is just phenomenal. I forget who played Mothman, but no Moth.
I don't remember
the Moth. Is it just the Moth?
Arthur.
Anyway, whoever played Arthur, he actually was the heart of the show, and he did a great job at that. There's a kind of a B story about where the hell the Tick came from because he doesn't seem to remember. But the heart of the story is really more about Arthur as a reliable narrator. And then getting into season 2, it started to get more into the theatrics of the superheroes and everything like that. But it really was it was a fun show. I wish it had been able to wrap up. Even a truncated season 3 could have probably done it. But yeah, like watching Haley play drums, and I genuinely, I think he was playing those drums. I watched it a few times and was like, man, I think he's actually rocking that shit. I'm not sure about that. It's been 2 years, but that was delightful. As far as Stargirl, I watched it today, and yeah, I there's room in the show for us to have more time with those characters, and I hope we do.
You think we'll get it in flashback?
Yeah, I think in flashback.
Okay.
Because one of the major, what's his name? Dougal, Stripesy is.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's present for both versions of that, so we have all kinds of possible flashback opportunities. I don't know who the other actors were, but bringing in Joel McHale seems like a bit of a waste if you just use him up front for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the 10 minutes is CGI. Like it's there's a lot there. I really hope we go back for him. I was happy to see him at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
I got my back hurt after the first 10 minutes from picking up all the names they dropped. It was a shit ton.
Yeah, I don't have a huge problem with them killing off the original JSA. I don't mind.
That's their function, I think, at some point.
In a way.
I mean, really, though, like the JSA isn't supposed to be present. They're supposed to be Golden Age. They're supposed to be back in the day.
Well, now, but, back then they were the big dogs.
Yeah, but back then it's gone.
All-Star Comics, man.
Gone, brother. Gone.
All right. Henry Cooper over on Twitter says, what would your ideal DCEU slate past 2022 look like? Populated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like probably I don't really care. Like, I don't want another Joker movie. I don't want a sequel to Joker, basically. I'll take it if they give it to me, and I'll see what they have to offer.
The version that I was given, and where Phillips and crew left it as like, yeah, we're talking about stuff, but I like the idea that unless they come up with something truly substantial, that we're just not going to see another one.
Right. I'm happy for it to look like, Batman movies and New Gods and whatever else they want to throw at me. I don't mind. I'll be here for it. And because I covered on the show, I'll be bored of it by the time it comes out.
and just spoiled.
I'll just be ready for the next thing.
Yeah.
It's not spoiled. It's just,
No, I mean spoiled as in what's happening already.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, then yes.
Not entitled. Spoiled.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, I'm just going to be sitting there going like, I'm in the theater going, okay, well, I know this scene was done by this DP. Yeah. And I know too much about the production. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
This was shot by the assistant director. They had the assistant director come in because this guy I saw in the behind the scenes vlog that we had to cover. He was taking a nap.
Well, I know this is the second unit because that actor looked bloated, and the second unit's caterer served exclusively carb-heavy treats.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be like, okay, here's the reshoots.
A lot of watermelon chunks. It really kind of swole the belly a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Here's the reshoots. Ezra Miller's hair is 3/4 of an inch longer than it was in the previous shot.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
Yeah.
They couldn't even get the cinematography right.
And we know that now because they were filming Girls 4 at the time.
All right. So Travis Hines sent us a gif of Statler and Waldorf laughing, the two old Muppets,
Oh, yeah, those old cranky bastards.
Yeah.
I like them.
And Travis says, you guys are freaking awesome. A beacon of light I found during the post-BVS shitstorm. You were part of the inspiration to get me into podcasting along with a couple others, and I hope you're around for another 25 years to become the guys in the GIF. Thanks for all the content laughs and just escape from the real world. Also, the Snyder Cut is coming, Jason. We told you to believe.
I am not a man of faith. I'm sorry. It is not my nature.
Yeah.
A man of hope? Sure. Superman's my favorite character. I try to keep that going. But faith? No.
But to circle back, 25 years.
But hopefully you've heard me talk this episode. Also, I don't know. I don't know. I could stay in there that long. I don't know what the circumstances will dictate at the time. Really, though, I
that's like Letterman level, man.
Yeah, sure. Who cares? But I genuinely, I'm just grateful that we at least got one person after BVS because we lost several hundred.
We did.
Because we didn't immediately hate the film.
We did, yeah.
So, thank you for filling in the gap as best you could.
Dude, that's the thing I wish I knew. Like, by the way, you guys being kind of entitled at the beginning of the show is cultivating a fan base that is going to hate you after the opening of BVS.
Mm-hmm.
Cultivate a different fan base. You jackwagons.
Yeah, hey, hindsight thing, man.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there was a point where we were like, if Batman starts killing in BVS, I'm walking, And then he did, and I was like, no, this is the best film ever.
No, I'm down. This is fantastic. What is he doing? Branding people? Okay,
that's awesome.
Well, it takes a minute, but I'm down.
It takes a minute.
It did. I remember us talking about branding people at some point early on.
Yeah.
And being very reticent about it. But we came around because the story kind of sold us.
Yeah. Yeah. See? We're not hypocrites. We just changed our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Michael Woodall writes in to our email account at dconscreen@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, David/Jason. Love the show. Would love to hear your thoughts on the viability of Legion of Superheroes movie or TV show on HBO. Seems like a prime property to mine. One of my favorites. I kind of think about that because there are so many Legionnaires, just so many. I keep thinking of it in terms of like a story per season with like a handful of them, and every season is like it's like True Detective, where it like focuses on a different story with different characters, and then maybe you like pull a big chunk of them together for like a big final season where like all the stories intertwine. But I don't know about the viability of it. Like Legends of Superhero or the Legion of Superheroes they're pretty obscure. I could see it
Relatively.
I could see it more happening on CW than anything else.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising it hasn't in a way.
Well, I mean, it has in the terms of being on Supergirl.
Yeah, it literally is already on there. But internet series, or like if that's where they went with the next set of DC animated or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's plenty of material. I wouldn't object to any version of actually focusing on Legion. But yeah, I mean, I love the idea anywhere it gets put.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's
Plenty
just see
of
where.
material.
Joe Fornerado. You know, he mentioned how I said his name with confidence incorrectly a few weeks ago, and now I'm scared. I'm gonna screw it up every time.
'Tis your way.
I know. Yeah. Joe says, "Congratulations on 5 years, you guys. I found you guys pretty late, about a year ago, I think, but I've enjoyed listening ever since. I was skeptical at first, considering how much I love The Dark Knight Rises, but you guys won me over. I laugh every time I listen to you, and I look forward to every episode, whether it be the random voices or crazy tangents. I especially love when Jason has absolutely no clue what Dave is referring to when he brings up the biggest news story of the week. Ha 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 ha.
Yes.
Keep up the great work, and I'm looking forward to more episodes down the road. P.S. Hopefully you guys will be talking about the Snyder Cut soon, cause if Jason is talking about it, that means it's official."
This feels prescient. I especially love the parts where I don't understand what's going on because I have to do less prep work.
Yep.
But yeah, for real, it does feel a little bit different, and I hope that works out. And we said more bad things about Dark Knight Rises, but I think we tried to add a chunk of humility to this part. And, hopefully
I still
that
hate
matters.
it. I still hate it. I'm just not going to be entitled about it. If you dig it, that's great. I'm glad for you. Actually, I think we said that too back then. We're just like, that's great. You can absolutely be wrong.
You can have this one. But yeah, I really am glad. I'm glad anyone's here under any circumstances, and especially if we don't agree, because that's kind of more interesting than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, I like an echo chamber, but you do you, man. Y'all want to disagree with us? Come talk to Jason.
I like echo chambers in a minor key.
All right, so we're going to move over to voicemails, and then we're going to wrap her up for this week. All right, our first voicemail is from Anthony, Brooklyn Batman, over on Twitter.
Hey, this is Anthony, a.k.a. Brooklyn Batman. Just want to say congrats on the 5 years. Wishing you guys the best of luck and safety in the rest of 2020. And we're looking forward to the next 5 years. And keep DC on your screen.
Thanks, man. Luck and safety to you and yours as well, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening so long.
Accent.
Right?
Yeah. He's been around a while, but man, it's something fun about hearing that accent every once in a while.
My favorite listeners, I think, in a lot of ways, are the people with accents, because it's like people with those accents shouldn't be listening to us. We're so far away.
We have very specific different accents. How dare we come across each other?
How dare they?
No, I'm super glad we do. I'm glad to hear it every once in a while, man.
And thank you
Fantastic.
Thank you for listening so long. Anthony's been with us a really, really super long time.
Yeah.
Better choke myself.
I was taking a sip at the time, so I said yeah late, but yes.
I have a piece of peanut in my mouth. Or in my throat, I should say. It's been out of my mouth.
I was going to say the mouth, good.
But yeah, been with us a long time, as has our friend J. Scott St. Clair.
What's going on, guys? Jay Scotty St. Clair here. Just wanted to wish you guys a happy 5-year anniversary. I recall back in 2016 when I first started listening to you guys right alongside the MCU podcast, and it's been nothing but quality entertainment for the last 4 years. So I've been there for most of the run, and happy to say I'm a proud listener. Thanks for all the content, the entertainment. Looking forward to the next 5 years. Appreciate you guys, and keep some DC on your screen. Take care.
Next 5 years.
I don't know if we've addressed the idea of another 5 years yet. Yeah, for real though. Good to have you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Wonderful guy. Thank you.
There have been some delightful back and forths, and I expect many more.
Yes. Chris Balga is next up on the voicemail list of World's Finest True Believers. Great show. I've been on it.
Well,
That's what made it great. I'm just kidding.
And to the VMs.
Hey, Dave and Jason. It's Chris from World's Finest True Believers. I want to wish you congratulations on your 5-year anniversary. DC On Screen was one of my very first podcasts I started listening to. I've always enjoyed both your perspectives, the great laugh out loud moments, and the frequent chasing of squirrels. I really appreciate you all allowing us listeners to participate in the episodes by answering our crazy questions how far we go out there. So I'm raising my respective glass to you both. Here to the next 5 years. And again, congratulations. Awesome achievement, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. Fuck those squirrels. We're going to get them one day.
And we're
Just
going to
matter
feed
of
them.
time.
We're going to feed
Matter
them
of
bat
time,
wieners.
dude. Yeah.
We're going to feed them bat wieners when we catch them.
To lure them.
Yeah, man. I love that we get to interact with people who are as silly as we are and who
Hell yeah.
have, if not the same sense of humor, at least an open mind enough to accept our weird shit.
A cross section enough that we're not that insane. I'll take that any fucking day.
I also love that so many of our listeners are podcasters as well.
Absolutely.
My favorite comedians are the comedians.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't know to
my all-time GOAT is Bill Hicks. Yeah, I'm squarely in that category.
Mm-hmm. And I like being a podcaster's podcaster.
Yeah.
Now
I'm
suspect
I'm especially happy when we're like, it's super gratifying if somebody's like, yeah, this was part of what I started listening to at first. Like that is just insane to me, and super humbling, and I'm just fucking happy we were there for that moment.
Yeah. Now, there's a paranoid part of me that's like, yeah, they're just sitting there going like, yeah, if those assholes can do it, I can do it,
But yeah, also true. If us or you assholes can do it, yeah, people can do it. Yeah, go have some fun, man.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Let us know.
Stick your dick out of a car door.
Hell yeah. While it's flipping on its side. Fuck friction and consequences.
Well, speaking of,
God, it's a terrible image.
Yep. Speaking of,
I've haunted myself.
Listeners who are also podcasters, our beloved friend Ryan Hulsman has left us a voicemail.
Hulsman. I had to practice this. Ryan Hulsman.
Hey, David and Jason. This is Ryan Hulsman from over on Twitter, co-host with my good buds Adam and Steven on the Gotham Central podcast and the Krypton Legacy podcast. I just wanted to quickly wish you guys tonight congratulations on a fantastic 5 years of DC on Screen. And here's to hoping that you guys are continuing the good Lord's work for another 5 years or more. In lieu of asking any sort of questions tonight, because I'm sure everyone before me has beat me to the punch, I just wanted to let you guys know that I will be pledging my first ever Patreon dollars to DC on Screen. Never done Patreon before, don't know how it works, but I wanted you guys to be the first podcast that I've ever supported. So, congratulations on 5 years, and I hope you guys have a great evening.
Ryan, man, thank you so much for listening and supporting us with all your algorithm-pleasing retweets and likes and comments, and now with your hard-earned dollars. It's always crazy to me that people do anything to support us. And it's such a weird, humbling experience that I'm really super grateful for.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually spend a good amount of time talking to Ryan now these days, and I deeply enjoy it. Like anyone else is welcome to the party.
Yeah.
It's fun to hear your voice, and fucking I It's hard to like sincerely say how grateful I am that somebody's willing to actually support us.
Yeah.
I always feel stupid saying it out loud, but I really am
Absolutely. Just sentimentality does not work for us.
No, we're not good at it.
You know, it's weird. You know, this is a failing on my part completely. I had no idea he was a podcaster. I had no idea Ryan was a podcaster. I don't know how I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's possible I knew that. Hell, I've probably said it on the show before and then forgotten it. But like I said, everybody listens to us as a podcaster. So
we need to be doing more of that old style web ring thing where we're just tying each other into everything.
Yeah, it's pronounced cock ring. But
no, that stops certain things. This is
okay.
There's some rigidity you're thinking of. No, that's not what we're doing. It's more of a giving project. Yeah.
Well, now we're back to cock ring.
Hey, it depends on the project. If that's what it takes to keep everyone giving, fucking cock ring.
Oh my gosh. 5 more years. Anyway.
You've started to sound like this is some prison.
No, never.
No. I mean, like 5 years from now, effortlessly, we'll still be going. Like I'll periodically be asking my daughter what she thinks of early Batman the Animated Series episodes and just recording that for posterity's sake. She's probably going to say like, it's super slow.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it'll all just come to bear. It'll all just happen.
I don't know what bears have to do with anything.
Your fear is unnecessary.
I don't have any fear.
It's definitely trepidation. All? Maybe all. Is all what you're like?
No, it's not all. More like
intimidation. You very much have this like Larry David idea of like, I have to do this again. No,
yeah,
no,
that's what it is. That's yeah.
No, we're nowhere near those bound. Like we're just gonna fuck around for another 5 years and hope any of these lovely people have stuck around for it.
I don't know, man.
That's the plan.
I do a lot of prep work.
That's the business plan. I wrote it up. It's a mission statement.
I did a lot of prep work. I'm tired.
Verbatim. Fuck around for another 5 years. Hope people stick around.
Hey, you know what? If I'm telling you this right now, we're doing 25 years. We're getting an editor and a social media manager.
That's fair. That's most of what we're hoping for with Patreon anyway. It's just someone to take some of the nuts and bolts off the table. I mean, most of it's going into like reinvesting in the show as far as like equipment and promotion. But oh my God, if we get to the point where some of the nuts and bolts were off, oh fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's enough nuts and bolts just to watch everything that we're like that is in our purview. Like our bailiwick at this point is biblically sized. It's just there's so much stuff, man. And it just keeps getting bigger. Exciting in its own way and frightening in another.
Indeed. All right. So speaking of 5 years, the next guy, Chris White, he's been a listener ever since 2015, man.
Oh, yeah. One of the first, I think, that wrote us in.
I think he was the first. Yeah. So let's hit that voicemail up.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Jason. Long time no talk. How you guys been? Sitting here looking at my calendar, and I was like, holy crap. I think it's your 5-year anniversary. So I just wanted to call up and say congratulations on that. You know, I don't always message you guys all the time, and, you know, I might wait a week or two before I listen to an episode, but every time I get around to doing it, you know, it's just like sitting down with a couple old friends, man. It's been awesome getting to know you guys over the years and listen and watching the show change and evolve and grow. And you guys just keep continuing to kill it, man. Still do and always will. Love what you all do and keep up the good work. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Yeah, man. Chris is one of those guys, man. When he first started writing in 5 years ago, I don't know, it seemed like it was no time before he and I just became like constant phone companions. We both drove a lot for a living. We were both stalwart proponents of headsets. So we got to know each other really fairly damn well, I think. And, you know, over the years we've gotten busier and jobs have changed and we don't get to talk nearly enough, honestly. But dude, it's always great to hear from you. Thank you for listening and caring enough to call me, even if half the time I'm a piece of shit and I can't answer because I'm in the middle of something. But, man, that's a good bloke.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've still got to do that
he's
Tim
one of
Burton
those-
Batman review with him.
Yeah, it's just never actually come to fruition, but it's never been something that we were putting off for any reason. It's just a thing that never happened. Am I wrong, or like were we all three not married when we started talking?
I want to say he was married.
Was he? He's the one I
Yeah.
can't remember because
I think he was. Yeah.
we were at each other's. So,
Mm-hmm.
but life still has changed. We've met. He's been very generous before. He's passed on some things to us. I'm still I'm staring at right now. I don't know how to describe what I'm looking at. He didn't know how to describe what he was looking at when he graciously gave it to me. It's just.
It took me a second. I know what you're talking about now.
It's the Superman symbol.
Yeah.
With encased in like a circular rock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to describe it.
I think you just did.
But I love it more every day.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy. And yes, of course it's heavy. It feels like rock. Like it's definitely at least molded clay.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where like it was very it was adorable. Like he was kind of nervous to even hand it to me and didn't know what to think of it. And then I still don't know what to think of it, but I'm super happy with it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's literally though in the direction of how I record. Like I spend hours staring at this thing. I mean,
That's sweet,
I'm
man.
probably thinking about some hypothetical blah blah blah, or deciding what I'm going to marinate my release the Snyder Cut hat in, or whatever the fuck I'm doing that week.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just there in the visual, in like the Superman corner of my room,
Right.
of my office.
You should take a picture of it and send it to me. I'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, it's out there. I'll send you a specific picture.
Okay.
I have it lined up like there's a line of like my sister-in-law sent me it's one of those little like aluminum puzzles, aluminum boxes with some puzzle pieces inside it.
Aluminium,
yeah, of course. With some it kept me and the daughter occupied here and there, just putting the puzzle together. But I have it lined up next to a little like postcard kind of thing you gave me.
Mm-hmm.
The historical cover of like it's the Superman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I know what it is. Yeah,
and
so
then
it's actually a collectible postcard that has the what was it, Superman #1 or Action Comics #1? I can't remember.
Superman #1.
Superman #1, but it was from Wizard Magazine like back in the 90s, and I have two of them.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, not gonna lie. And then I have that, and in between I have this row of Action Comics 1000.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally from the blank cover to the Jim Lee cover and every variation that wasn't like a store-bought variation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty proud of it. I enjoy this wall.
It's a good wall.
I enjoy it deeply.
It's a strong wall.
And then next to it is like the signed Christopher Titus poster from when we went to see him a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because why not?
I think that's like the Christopher Titus poster that I have that he signed. The picture of all three of us standing together,
mm-hmm.
and maybe this Conan O'Brien action figure and mug set that Chris White gave me.
Yeah.
Are probably the only non-DC things in the office.
Oh, see, that's fair. That's nice.
So anyway, we're going to move on to
our next victim.
Effie Ophelders.
Dave and Jason, it has been Highfather knows how long since I started listening to you guys. There are episodes in your archives from 2015 that I am fairly certain I remember listening to back when I was caught up on the CW shows you were still reviewing episodically, and back when trailers for BVS had me beyond excited for Justice League Part 1 and 2. A lot may have changed since then, like the amount of trade paperbacks on my shelves, thanks to your recommendations, or the number of shows with you under my belt. Hell, you've become husbands and fathers, but your enthusiasm as DC fans and podcasters par excellence has never wavered. Your friendship means more than chatting across an ocean has any right to. Whether they were called Batwieners or squirrel chasing, I've been able to count on your weekly nonsense for years now, as well as some news, and I thank you for both. Even though Stealing the Remote is in dire need of a soft reboot, I would have never started a podcast without you, and I hope to join you in recording at 2:30 a.m. many more times. Congratulations, and I'm looking forward to the next half decade. Much love, Effie.
Can that be our obituary?
Well, it could be yours. I don't know.
That was gloriously done.
It was very nice.
That was just so fucking sweet.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I genuinely appreciate your friendship as well. I've enjoyed getting to know you over the time, and yeah, like there's a lot of opportunity for crossover and stuff like that we just have to exploit more, I think.
Absolutely. First of all, Effie's show, Stealing the Remote, when it was properly in production, was one of my favorite podcasts. No contest, top 3, sometimes number 1. And I'm sure it will be again when she starts it up again. If she starts it up again, go harass her. Effie
no pressure, but go harass her.
Effie is another one of those listeners who just stopped being a listener and became a friend who, for whatever reasons, still listened and is excited to listen, even though she's been subjected to the neurotic horse shit my other friends are subjected to. And I talk to Effie quite a bit, so I'm very sorry for some of that, Effie. She's in
Apologies
Netherlands
for my companionship.
Yeah, she's in Netherlands, so it just so happens that like around the time like 4 to 6 a.m. when I'm like cobbling out a DC on Screen and uploading it or whatever, she's just waking up or just, and then it's like, oh, well, I can text Dave and we can talk about the show, or I could be like, hey, this is some bullshit. Check this out. I cut this out, but check it out, or whatever.
Yeah,
We have a fun time. So
I genuinely feel bad a lot of the times I talk to her because it feels like I'm just chiming in like right when she's about to go to sleep, or vice versa, like or just when she's about to wake up. Either way.
Yeah. Well, I think
my schedule has been so regular for so long. In the last couple of years, like get to work at 7, leave at 5. That does not work for the Netherlands.
No,
that's some bullshit.
I can't keep track of my own time, much less hers. But Effie, I am very grateful for you and your perspective and your friendship.
Absolutely.
And thank you for being a part of our weird journey into podcasting, however it may have developed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've got 5 more years of this shit to do, so hang in there with us.
And maybe 25. Anyway.
We'll see in like 12 minutes when we're at the 5-year mark.
Yep. And my guess is by the time she hears this, we will have had like another whole conversation on Facebook.
Probably. Well, you will. Yeah, you two have more time together.
Yeah. Before we were recording, she and I were just like, we probably were just going back and forth for like 20 minutes about Snyder Cut. So,
see, that's fantastic.
All right. So finally, no anniversary would be complete, I feel like, without a call from possibly, I'm pretty sure, the first person to ever leave us a voicemail. Here with sage ramblings regarding anniversaries, birds of prey, and corn or something. Myrtle Manus, the old winter woman.
Well, I ain't called you in a while, but I heard he's having an anniversary coming up pretty soon. Well, I just wanted to say I'm happy for you to have an anniversary like that, and I hope you get you some cake and you'll be real happy in the future together. Well, I heard you talking about them birds of prey, and well, I tell you what, if you put out some corn and you put a box out there, and when that old bird goes to get that corn, the box falls down on it, and well, that's good eating, I'll tell you that. You can't have nothing better than that. Well, I hope you have you good, and I hope, well, you pray you get one of them birds, you know what I mean, or you go hungry. Well, we know, every once in a while I have a crust of bread or some old well water, and I'll be all right. You ain't got to story about this old widow woman. Well, have you good, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Widow Woman is still one of my favorites, man. I know I'm not supposed to, but
no, we loaded it to the back for a reason, but it still delights me every time.
No, truthfully, I put it at the end because I felt save the best for last. I'm sorry, Eli Hernandez. I just love it.
Reactions from some people, so it's like, well, let's let this be a little playground for some other people.
I don't know why it's so funny to me.
Oh, it's delightful. It's absolutely delightful. Also, she sounds a little worse. I feel like she may need to call somebody.
Mm-hmm. Probably a doctor.
Maybe get a consult. Yeah.
Yeah. Widow Woman, we're friends with Dr. Steve.
You should a bit fainter, a bit weaker.
We're friends with Dr. Steve over at Weird Medicine. You should give him a call sometime.
Man has good advice.
He does, if you're willing to take it.
Him and his team of crack pathologists.
As opposed to a team of pathologists on crack.
Yeah. It's very different. One you run into in a clinic, one you run into in a street.
Well, sometimes you run into the other in a clinic.
You can't account for every situation. You have to assume, in general, it's kind of a Punnett Square situation.
Right.
For every pathologist not on crack, you have to assume that there's a cracked out pathologist.
That's right.
Yeah. Just the math, right?
Multiverse, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I've got, man. I don't know. We've listened to Widow Woman. We've waxed sentimental over Chris White and Effie and all these other great people who sent us voicemails and well wishes and
you know, you bring up a good point. Hold on.
What am I holding on for? Please let go. No,
I've been watching too much Disney Plus. Don't bring that shit to me.
Disney Plus is great.
I will let it go. Let it go. You know, weirdly, those are the only two lines of that song I know. I tune out immediately afterward.
Yeah. I don't know any of the songs except for Let It Go, but I do now know all of the lyrics to the Lizzie McGuire theme song.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad show, really. For real. I mean, it is, but look, Robert Carradine was funny in Revenge of the Nerds, and he's just as funny as Lizzie's dad. That's all I'm saying.
There's some redeemability to everything that happened. Well, all right. Here's what we're holding on for. I feel like it's worth it. Andy Holsey, Brandon B., Chris Bogga, Dr. Steve, Effie Upholders, Eli Hernandez, Alyssa Love, Eric Norris, Eric Liepert, J.D. McCrae, Jonathan Buren, Joseph Fernaroto, Matthew Salvatore, Nerdy Tastic, and Tim Yoka.
Mm-hmm. Those sound like our patrons.
Thank you, patron.
Absolutely. And if you would like to join their hallowed ranks, plug, wink, wink, patreon.com/DC on screen.
Ain't gonna cost you much, baby. Ain't gonna cost you much at all. First one's free.
Oh, by the way, I totally forgot about this. I wanted to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know how Google Voice will do the thing where when people send you a voicemail, it transcribes it for you?
Mm-hmm.
When Ryan Hulsman sent his in, I saw his transcription, and it just got it completely wrong. And
fantastic.
It was like talking about Patreon, and it said, I want to give my first $1,000 to you. I was like, what? And I started like fanning myself off like an old lady in church. And then I listened, and I was like, well, that's really nice.
I'm imagining a Looney Tunes character, but okay.
It's really nice. I didn't hear anything about $1,000 though. Damn you, Google Voice.
Mm-hmm.
You liars.
Yeah, I get it. That's pretty good.
Anyway, I think we're done. I'm done. Are you done?
Yep.
Cool. We'll try to do something special for the 600th episode, which comes up in like 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I really tried to make it happen to where like the 600th episode was the 5-year anniversary. But that shit wasn't happening for some reason.
Nah.
So
yeah.
Anywho.
Also, we're still trying to figure out something special to do for just a round number. And honestly, the idea that it was the 5th anniversary kind of snuck up on us a little bit.
It didn't sneak up on me.
Really?
How long
you been staring down the barrel of that?
5 years.
On day 1, you said, you know what I'm already worried about? The 5-year anniversary.
I was. I was. I never know what to do with these things. Holiday episodes, anniversary episodes, round numbers. Hell, even the odd numbers. Every week I struggle. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what to do. I'm just sitting here with a Word document and, caps lock. I don't know.
Just trying your best. Yeah. No, you should take some of the anxiety off your plate.
I've tried.
I mean,
I'm taking medication now, for God's sake.
I realize it's a tall order. This is coming from someone who could be described as a mental health consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it, but just relax, hang out, enjoy the moment, kind of thing. Yeah, it's been 5 years. We made it this long. It's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think my voice is gonna give out. I don't know why.
It's almost like you agreed with me, and your voice was like, "No."
Well, no,
the larynx will give up.
The truth is, my neck is a little out, so the muscles of my neck are constricting a little bit, and they were already kind of screwed up because I raked leaves a few days ago and then cut grass. So,
yeah,
it's all the things all at once.
Right.
But yeah, man, I'm pumped. We made it 5 years. I don't know how many more years we'll make it, but I hope all you guys and gals are here and waiting on us to upload. Wait for bated breath for us to upload a new episode every week. Just
yeah, it's a fine joke.
Mm-hmm.
Sincerely, I will say, like, just get in touch, man. That's what makes this fun.
Yep. We're still on Facebook at the Facebook group. No one says shit in there. I don't know why, but we don't either. So
I don't think anyone says anything on Facebook anymore. I don't care if it's email, carrier pigeon, Instagram post, whatever the hell.
Right.
As long as it makes it to something that says DC on Screen, which Dave to your credit, did a really good job of. We own everything that says DC on Screen,
except
it's
for
not like there were people.
The group DC on Screen.
On where?
Facebook.
Oh,
ours
on
is
Facebook.
DC.
Yeah,
ours is DC on Screen podcast.
Yeah, and originally the DC on Screen actual group was super porn heavy.
Yeah, like I don't know
crazy.
about now, but like back then it was like the banner, like the cover image was like superheroes, and then you scroll down and it was just like as far as you could get into porn as you can get without actually like getting blocked on Facebook, which was like, I don't know, like a piece of cloth covering an asshole.
Yeah, it got into fanfic in a heavy way.
Fanfic? I didn't even see anything. I was just like, oh my god, where's
fanfic?
What Batman? Where are we seeing a Batman symbol somewhere? Is there like a Superman symbol? All I'm seeing is ass cheeks and barely covered titties. That's all I'm seeing.
What I'm saying is, I don't know how Bruce Timm beat us to DC on Screen.
No, if it was him, he would have been drawing it. He can only get off to his own drawings.
You're right. That would have been the good call. But yeah, we're available everywhere, and frankly, everything we hear from everybody makes this thing more enjoyable and worth doing. And frankly, without it, fuck the whole thing. So, man, anyone who's still listening, especially fucking after we talked about people talking to us the whole time, this feels super. Like this is when people get super self-deprecating because it makes sense to do that.
Yep.
Because actually being sincere makes no fucking sense and doesn't. I don't have enough therapists for that.
Hey, a couple years ago, I was working with this guy and he was like, podcasting, do you get paid for that? And I was like, I'll have you know. And I pulled up Twitter and said, I get paid several compliments a week.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thank you guys. Have a good night. Keep some DC on your screen.
Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye.
Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free. including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
When I was diagnosed with cancer, it felt like my whole world came tumbling down.
Patient Advocate Foundation is here for you, providing free one-on-one practical support to patients with a cancer diagnosis. Call us at 800-532-5274. Patient Advocate Foundation can assist in navigating disability benefits and health insurance options. PAF also helps in accessing vital services, medications, and financial resources for both medical and household expenses. Visit patientadvocate.org or call 800-532-5274.